Shalom, when the self souls by giving no praise to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahshua, by Hashem, Kadash, double honors to the apostle, great Milson, and honors to you brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. Yahweh's real name, with whom the world ignorantly calls God Jehovah or Yahweh. His real name is Yahweh. His son's true name is Yahweh Shai, and when we pray Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahshua, meaning in, meaning that, and Sham, meaning name. So Yahweh and the name of Yahweh Shai. Real quick, this is I was just watching something else, and the person in the video was like, oh yeah, the amount they spend on military is a large amount of their GDP. So I just asked the AI to basically summarize, because I couldn't get the exact figures that I kind of wanted on the Google, but even this wasn't directly to the point, but it's good enough, right? So it says, how much does the defense industry contribute to that nation's GDP, right? So the defense industry plays a significant role in that economy, contributing through military expenditure and defense exports. It says in 2024, right, spending reached approximately $45 billion, accounting for 8% of its GDP. This marked a substantial increase from 5% in 2023, right, largely due to military operation in the neighboring territories. Right, historically, that country's military expenditure has been among the highest globally, right? And when we're reading these things, what are we, what precepts are we coming to mind, right? And I'll just load this here. I'll finish the rest of it, right? So it says defense exports, right? It says that nation's defense exports are vital a component to its economy. So it's even saying that it's a vital component, right? Here it is, when we read the prophecies, right? They, basically there'd be no war, right? At all, anywhere, right? Not just there ain't no war in our borders, no, there'd be no war anywhere, right? And the thing is, like, it's not even like we'd be able to, people would be able to, how was it spelled, would even be able to come up against us anyway, right? This is Jeremiah 51 and 20, right? It says, thou art my battle axe and weapons of war, right? For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms, and with thee I will break in pieces the horse and his riders, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariots and his riders. Right, with thee also I will break in pieces man or woman, and with thee will I break in pieces old and young, and with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. So basically, we are gonna be the weapons of war, if you will, right? So I'm just thinking of something, trying to when you're trying to double think twice. Right, yeah. Let me just double check that one real quick, so like, just bear with me. Yeah. This is Isaiah 41 and 15, right? It says, behold, I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth, right? Thou shalt thresh the mountains and beat them, and shall make the hills as chaff. Okay, in fact, let me read from 14, right? It says, fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel. I will help thee, saith Yahweh, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Because right now, we're unprotected. Right now, we're a prey, right? Let's just be completely honest about the situation that we're in. Right now, we're a prey, such that, it's really just the Lord that is keeping us from the grips of this Edomite, right? Oh, we understand that the Lord will protect his elect. Okay, so, and then goes and say, behold, I'll make thee a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth, right? Thou shalt thresh the mountains and beat them, and shall make their hills as chaff, right? So we are gonna be the ones, if there's a quote unquote uprising, right? The heathens, they plot together, right? Gog, after 1,000 years, gonna plot together to come against the Israelites. I'm being facetious, of course, right? But should we ever need to lay down the law, we will be those instruments, okay? Right, you're not gonna be needing no Raytheon missiles and Tomahawk missiles and or any of that nonsense, Okay, right? Because everything that we do is going to be by way of the spirit. Okay, so we can come back here, right? It says it says defense exports, right? It says are a vital component of its economy, right? Whereas we understand, as we'll read in Isaiah the second chapter, that it will be no part of our economy, right? Because it's not going to be war anymore, right? So in 2022, defense exports reached a record at $12 billion, representing approximately 10% of the country's total exports. Right, these exports not only generate revenue but also strengthen strategic partnerships worldwide. Right, says while overall economic impact, right, says while the defense sector is crucial for national security and contributes significantly to exports, its direct impact on GDP is more nuanced. Right, a 2020 analysis indicated that the defense industry's share in the economy had declined over time, suggesting it no longer holds a dominant macroeconomic position. Nonetheless, the sector remains influential, especially during periods of heightened military activity and evidenced since 2024. Right, one thing that I found interesting about, for instance, this number here, right, accounting for 8.4% of its GDP, is that NATO nations are only tasked with hitting 2% of their GDP, right? In terms of defense spending. So basically, and mind you, most NATO nations aren't hitting that at all. Okay, most NATO nations are, just about scrape. In fact, let me see if I can find that out as well. See if the AI overview can give me the answer. So, what countries hit the NATO 2% target? Atlantic Council. Let's see if it gives us a nice. Okay, no, so I was wrong. So you get quite a lot of nations that are actually over. Um, but let's see. Let's do the bring this to this tab here. Right, so you see, NATO allies increased defense spending following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Right, so you see 2021 to 2024. Right, so Poland is defense spending as a share of real GDP. I don't know what the difference is. They've not explained why they've said real GDP as opposed to just GDP. Um, yeah, so this is like after the war in Ukraine started, right? But even you see there Poland, right, which is at the top, right, is just over 4%, right? And then the United States actually went backwards. It went from 3.53 in 2021 to 3.38 in 2028, right? Well, okay, yes, it's 2024 numbers are estimates, right? So you got this cluster up here, right? Lithuania, Latvia, Greece, that's interesting. Estonia, US, and Poland, right at the top, right? And that's just basically almost hitting 3%. But then all the way back, the next one is you see Finland at 2.41%. Okay, so you see it was actually before the 2021. You see most nations weren't actually hitting that, right? That number. You only had what, one, two, three, four, five, which were just over the 2% mark in that NATO wants. Okay, but actually since 2024, right? It is estimated. Oh no, you had the United Kingdom that was also there. I missed that one, right? But you get even more spending, going up like so. Okay, but even then, it's still the largest is 4.12, whereas what we see here is 8.4, so double, basically the biggest GDP, right? But once again, just shows you that these ain't the real ones. This is Isaiah 2 from the top. So the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem, right? And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. Right, and the mountain represents a government, right? It says, and shall be exalted above the hills, right? Representing a smaller government, Salakia. Um, yeah, so it says, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it, right? It says that many people shall go and say, "Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem," right? Because people are going to be coming up to us. They're going to be like, "Yo, the way the Israelites are doing it is the right way," right? Because even one of the precepts that just keeps coming up to me recently, right, is this, right, in Romans 8, right, Romans 8:19, "For the earnest expectation of the creature, right, waited for the manifestations of the sons of the Most High," right? Because so deep down, everything is really waiting for the Israelites to be in rulership, right? One that is profitable, pursuant to Sirach, the 10th chapter, because we're going to put things in order, right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. We're going to put things in order. We're going to clean the world up, right? We're going to get rid of all of this, these weapons of mass destruction is really what they are, right? You look at certain of these conventional weapons before you even go nuclear, right? You look at some of these conventional weapons, and they're crazy as hell, okay? So yeah, so that's it. So we come back here, right? This is Isaiah 2:4 now. It says, "And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore." So when the real ones are in that position, right? Are in the kingdom, right? We're not gonna there's gonna be no war, so there's gonna be no spending on defense. Right, as we read in the precepts, right, we gonna be those spiritual weapons, okay, in the kingdom, right? Gotta stress that before Esau has a hissy fit, right? In the kingdom we're gonna be hitting that what's the word I'm looking for? In the kingdom is when we're gonna be that, them spiritual weaponry, okay? So yeah, that was just a quick one. So as always, Lord, I was edifying. To the next time, we say Shalom.